Hello to everyone all over the world. Magkakasama na naman tayo sa panibagong kwentuhan this Saturday evening here at Usapang Lockdown. And for today, we'll be joined by a voice-over talent for various commercials and GPTV, dubber, and teacher, Sir Claude Despabiladeras. Hello, sir, and welcome to Usapang Lockdown.
Hey Jacob, thank you very much for having me on your YouTube channel. Nax, Pa-YouTube ka na.
How are you, sir, and how are you coping with the community quarantine right now?
Jacob, right now I'm happy to say that I'm okay. But during the first few months of the lockdown, especially March and April, I had a hard time because everything stopped. Work stopped, projects and gigs stopped, and I really felt all the restrictions and limitations, plus the fact yung mga numbers ng COVID-19 victims tumataas every single day, and you could not help worry for yourself and you could not help worry for other people. And biglang may mga mababalita na yung kalye dito sa barangay namin at yun nakaka-worry. But fast forward to June, things got better in terms of work. Nag-resume yung mga projects na dinadub namin. And as for live events, na-cancel lahat ng mga events. So that's the disappointing thing that happened as far as live events are concerned. As for dubbing naman, Jacob, nag-resume yung dubbing work nung June, but some of my peers are dubbing from home. Na-set up nila yung kanilang computer, yung technology necessary for them to be able to do their dubbing work from their homes.
So, sir, since we have mentioned that you have done TV commercials here and there, can we ask for a sample of what you have done already?
Sa tulong ng Revicon Forte, buong katawan, sanib puwersa. Tapos, you need a fast serum cream, new Garnier Light. And, at panoorin ang inyong mga paboritong ABS-CBN shows from yesteryears only on GPTV. Enjoy ang trip! Yan.
Ang galing! Wow. So, si Sir Claude, voice behind those great commercials that we see on TV. Ang galing!
I'm one of many voiceovers in the country. Yung my peers, I look up to them. Magagaling talaga sila, Jacob.
So, sir, how did you start po in public speaking and hosting? Can you share some of your experiences when you were still starting po?
I started because of a thing called the UAAP Student Sportscaster Search. Studio 23 under ABS-CBN conducted a search in every UAAP school for the forthcoming UAAP that year. That was year 2000. I was 18 years old. From 14 to 17 Thamasians who joined, I was the one who got chosen, and the job that was going to be assigned for me to do was being the courtside reporter of the UST basketball team. That was written about in UST by the Varsitarian, the school paper of the University of Santo Tomas. And na-realize ko, after that article came out, people started inviting me to host events. And they would call the College of Education, my alma mater college, and ask for me. And when I got to the dean's office, bibigyan ako ng slip of paper saying na please meet so-and-so's person at this department. Tapos pagpunta ko doon, yun pala ang naghihintay sa akin, hosting gig. Sabi sa akin na maybe you can host for us. I think people started to assume na kaya ko, but in reality, I was young, I was inexperienced. I had not experienced hosting events na in front of many people.
So, sir, were there also times that you have messed up or you committed the mistakes people commonly do when speaking?
Oh, yes. Yes, the very first event that I hosted was in third year high school. Hindi ko na-mention yun because that was something forgettable. It was forgettable because I wasn't good. Naalala ko, Jacob, I volunteered dun sa teacher na point person ng event. He was the one who organized the event, yung acoustic, but it was our batch that planned for it because it was our fundraising event. Sabi ko, gusto kong maging involved. Other people had ideas, presented concepts for the backdrop or the set or yung theme ng event. Ako naman, ang volunteer ko, sarili ko as the host. Bigla na lang, akala ko kaya ko eh. And my co-host was a beautiful, eloquent batchmate. Pagdating ng event na yun, nung morning, kinabahan na lang ako bigla and I was like a child. I was like a little boy telling my mom na ang sakit ng tiyan ko. Hindi ko yata kaya pumuntang school ngayon. And she said, kinakabahan ka lang mamaya. And I forgot exactly the thing she told me. But she said, just go ahead. Panindigan mo yung pag-volunteer mo. Pinanindigan ko naman, Jacob, that night. I went to school, hosted, I got the script, pero hindi ko pinanindigan in such a way na I approached it with a proper attitude. I felt so heavy emotionally, and I was there so self-conscious, regretting that I volunteered, and I was just delivering the lines in a mechanical way. I felt that I didn't put my heart and soul into it. And that was because I let the fear take over me. Yeah, so it wasn't a pleasant experience. Another one was for my dad's Rotary event. Naalala ko yun because I had hosted many events already, and I became a competent host at that time already nung na-host ko yun. Pero kaya nangyari yung mistake ko because yung focus ko yata wala. I think I was distracted eh. So when I was delivering my opening spiel, nahirapan akong sabihin yung name ng venue. So nagkakamali ako. Obvious yung hindi ko masabi siya ng diretso, and nautal pa ako in a different part of my opening. And I was disappointed because it was obvious. But the rest of the show, the rest of the event, bumawi naman ako. So that's what happened, Jacob.
Yes, sir. I remember din my time during sa Mr. Q&A. Ang dami ko ding mistakes na na-commit nun. Kasi like, I was not even prepared to make it that far. So, pagkatating ko doon, hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. So, I was given 30 seconds. Hindi ko inubos yung, I finished everything in 13 seconds. Kasi, kinakabahan ako na baka I say things wrong, baka mali ko masabi, baka hindi ko ma-deliver ng tama. So, kung ano yung pumasok sa isip ko, yun yung sinabi ko, parang pinanindigan ko na agad.
Grabe, Jacob. Ang hirap nung ganong klaseng format, no? 30 seconds, and you have to give an answer na may impact, may sense, at the same time, kwela. May I ask ang Jacob, you said yung kailangan mong did you say panindigan?
Yes, sir. Panindigan yung answer.
Were there times ba? How many episodes were you on?
I was there for 4 episodes.
4 episodes? So you got asked 4 questions?
3 questions as isang grand finals episode.
Of those 4 occasions, ilan yung times na nagbigay ka ng sagot na as it came out of your mouth, you knew it was right? And ilan naman yung times na as it came out of your mouth, sabi mo, hindi yata ito yung tamang sagot, hindi yata ito yung gustong sagot, na pinanindigan mo na lang?
The first one, yung mamantay o magmahal, I was sure with my answer. The delivery was the one that's hindi sure. Yung second, I was very much sure. Doon sure talaga ako, laban na laban ako doon. Yung third and yung fourth, yun yung mema na lang yung sagot ko. Kung ano yung pumasok sa isip ko, yun yung sinagot ko. Yun yung medyo hindi ako happy talaga sa mga.
Hirap rin, no? Alam mo, Jacob, I'll be honest with you now, no? Of course, I'm proud of you, tapos na kasi yan eh. Pero had I found out that you were going to compete in a competition like that, battle of the wits and humor and presence of mind, I would have approached you and asked you, Jacob, sigurado ka ba? Kasi out of concern, because ako takot ko yan eh. Hindi ako kwela, hindi ganyan yung humor ko eh. And ano pa yan, pwede kang masubject to embarrassment pag sablay yung ano mo eh. Pero ang lakas ng loob mo talaga, and congrats. As I witnessed nung Monday after the finals of the Q&A, nung flag ceremony natin nung Monday morning, when you were called to be acknowledged, you were applauded very well, and we were happy for you. Yeah, na-mention yata yung school natin, 'di ba?
Opo.
That's why in one of the earlier episodes, somebody texted me in the afternoon. I was in Makati, I think I was dubbing, and somebody texted, Claude, there's somebody from Jasams, Quezon City. So pag-uwi ko, ang tinanong ko sa mga co-teachers ko sa chatroom namin, sino ba yun? Yun pala ikaw.
So yun, sir. So speaking of mistakes, syempre, lalo na if we're still beginners, hindi natin naiiwasan yun. Doon tayo nag-grow because of it. So, sometimes we often commit the mistakes na we say the the and sometimes we do the unnecessary gestures. So, how do we reduce the fillers when speaking? And how do we reduce the tendency to do unnecessary gestures?
I will answer this question based on my experience. I remember there was an event where I was standing in front of everybody
Mm-mm.
delivering my lines. I was holding the microphone with my right hand, and with my other hand I was holding my sheet of paper with my program. And I just realized I was doing that. I was doing that as I was speaking. And I knew that I had to stop, but I couldn't. And I realized, Jacob, it was because I was not so sure, or I was insecure about what I was saying. And so, to compensate for my insecurity sa sinasabi ko, dinadaan ko na lang sa ganon. You know, sa yung parang may
Mm-mm.
push. Yeah, it's very instinctive eh. Yan. So for you to avoid committing that, you have to be sure of what you're going to say. That's why it's important before an event, especially before your opening spiel, the very first time na lalabas ka sa stage, or even
Mm-mm.
before every segment, you have to have an alone time. And during that alone time, you're just quiet. Even if everything else is happening, going on, you can hear everything. You're able to think of what you're going to say. My mind works like a keyboard when I am hosting. I string words together in my mind, and these are the words that end up becoming my opening spiel or my utterances in between segments.
Mm-mm.
So that's how you can avoid the unnecessary
Mm-mm.
gestures and the fillers, the ums and the ums, by knowing what to say. And for you
Mm-mm.
to know what to say, you have to observe the things that are going on,
Mm-mm.
and you have to string words together.
So, sir, since you've mentioned about being prepared and being aware of what's going on, sometimes, diba, when we make a script of what to say, so is it okay for someone to do that? And if someone does it, how can they make sure that they don't sound scripted when speaking?
It's okay to have a script. In fact, one of my favorite hosting gigs when I was in college was one where I had a script. 2 weeks
Mm-mm.
before that event, it was the UST Athletes Recognition Day. 2 weeks before that event, I found out the program. I started typing a script on the computer. Ginandahan ko talaga yung script, and in the process of typing it, na-memorize
Mm-mm.
ko yung sinasabi ko. And, you know, I had a co-host, binigay ko sa kanya yung script, and we were able to do well. I think that na-deliver ko siya na parang ang dating is hindi ko binabasa kasi nakatingin ako sa audience as I was delivering, to the point na na-memorize ko na kasi yung script.
Mm-mm.
So it's okay to have a script, and since I do a lot of live voiceover gigs, napapanood ko yung mga hosts na ini-introduce ko when they're on stage, they are reading the script. They have a script prepared by the events organizers, and it's clear to everybody that they're reading it. But important thing with how they're delivering it is hindi scripted ang dating, na walang sing-song, and they know where to pause, and they're looking at the audience most of the time. They're just glancing at the script. Kasi for sure, nung nasa backstage sila, binabasa nila yung part ng script, yung
Mm-mm.
segment na susunod. So when they go up on stage, ang ganda ng pagkaka-deliver. There may be some hosts out there na hindi na kailangang basahin, na sharp yung memory, na kuhang-kuha na talaga
Mm-mm.
yung script, hindi, or minsan nare-reword nila, but maganda pa rin yung pagkaka-delivers. But it's okay to have a script. It's
Mm-mm.
just how you deliver it. That's what's important.
Yes, I agree. So, sir, before we end this conversation, what advice can you give to people that aspire to be better at public speaking and hosting and wants to improve at what they're doing?
For those people who are beginners, who are starting to host, if you think you have what it takes, you go for it. And I advise that you start hosting with a script
Mm-mm.
so that you do not get overwhelmed by the occasion. If you start hosting with a script in your first few events, that helps you build your confidence. As that develops, you will realize the nervousness
Mm-mm.
that you feel when you face a crowd decreases, and that
Mm-mm.
allows you to become spontaneous, to think on your feet. Kasi ang nangyari sa akin, I was very script dependent during my first
Mm-mm.
few hosting gigs. And I think no third or fourth event ko
Mm-mm.
na-realize ko, kaya ko na yatang maging spontaneous. So just depend on, you know, my ability to speak in front of people until such time na program na lang ang hinihingi ko.
Mm-mm.
Kaya ko na string ng words together. And most of the events that I host, Jacob, are wedding
Mm.
receptions and sometimes debuts and other events, formal events, but they don't prepare a script for me anymore. Ay, nahiya rin ako mag-request na gawa nila ako ng script. So I just depend on my spontaneity. It's possible because I remember how scripted I was when I was very young, when I was starting. And then later on, I developed the ability to be
Mm.
spontaneous. So, and other advice that I can give is for you to be spontaneous, you have to read a lot and you have to have models in terms of public speaking. You watch them on YouTube, listen to how they speak, listen to how they converse, and try to look for people with whom
Mm.
you can converse so that you keep yourself well oiled, you know?
Yes, yes, I agree, sir. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you learned a thing or two from our Kantuan, and I myself have learned a lot from Sir Claude's advice and his knowledge. So yeah, thank you, Sir Claude, for sharing what you know and sharing your advice to beginners out there.
Thank you very much for having me, Jacob, and I'm glad to have shared whatever I know.
Thank you, sir. We're glad to have you here, and we hope to see you here again some other time. And that's it for today's episode. See you guys again next week here at Usapang Lockdown. Bye, guys.